In a world mapped and measured, there remain places whose significance is written not in guidebooks, but in the very stones beneath our feet. Ethiopia is one such place, a land where the story of humanity is etched into the landscape itself, waiting to be read by those who look closely. Here, the earth splits open along the Great Rift Valley, a colossal scar that marks the birthplace of our earliest ancestors. The land itself is a living archive, its rocks and soils preserving the secrets of evolution and survival. In these silent beds of ancient sediment, the remains of creatures long vanished tell a story that predates civilization itself. The famous Australopithecus afarensis, known as Lucy, was discovered here, her bones resting undisturbed for over 3 million years beneath layers of volcanic ash. The geography of Ethiopia is a study in contrasts. In the north, the Danakil Depression plunges below sea level, its salt flats and sulphur springs forming one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. Yet just beyond, volcanic highlands rise abruptly, their slopes cloaked in mist and mystery. Across these lands, the marks of ancient civilizations endure. Churches and monuments carved directly from the living rock stand as testaments to a spiritual heritage that predates written history. Obelisks and ruins rise from the earth, their origins shrouded in the mists of time. The stones themselves are storytellers, bearing the marks of rituals and beliefs that have shaped the land for millennia. Terraced hillsides and labyrinthine canyons reveal the patient artistry of time, each layer a chapter in the saga of civilization. Ethiopia's natural world is as ancient as its history. In the Highlands, rare plants and animals have evolved in isolation, their existence a living link to a primordial past. Pristine streams and forests remain as they have for thousands of years, shaped only by the rhythms of nature. The forces of wind, water, and fire have sculpted Ethiopia into a land of extremes. Towering cliffs and deep gorges bear witness to the relentless power of erosion, while petrified forests and shifting sands hint at worlds long vanished. Beneath the surface, volcanic forces continue to shape the land. Crater lakes and lava tubes form a hidden world, their mineral-rich waters and vents supporting unique ecosystems found nowhere else on Earth. Along the banks of the Blue Nile, cliffs of sedimentary rock reveal fossilized footprints and bones, silent witnesses to the earliest chapters of human existence. Each discovery here adds a new verse to the epic of our origins. The escarpments and caves of Tigray hold mysteries yet to be uncovered. Wind and weather have carved the rocks into fantastical shapes, while hidden caverns may still shelter secrets from the dawn of civilization. In the north, the Ertile volcano smolders, its molten heart a reminder of the Earth's restless energy. Sulphuric steam and vivid mineral deposits create a landscape that seems almost alien, untouched by the passage of time. Even in the harshest environments, life finds a way. Seasonal rains transform barren plains into fields of wildflowers, while ancient riverbeds trace the memory of water across the land. The smallest details reveal the resilience of nature. Lichen and moss colonize ancient stones, while gnarled roots anchor themselves in the most unlikely places. Wetlands, undisturbed by human hands, provide sanctuary for countless species. The rivers of Ethiopia are lifelines, their courses unchanged for thousands of years. As the sun rises over the awash, mist drifts above the water, and ancient stones bear the marks of endless cycles of renewal. In the south, the Omo River carves a labyrinthine delta, its waters nourishing a mosaic of habitats. Sediment patterns left by receding floods create ever-changing works of natural art, illuminated by the setting sun. Volcanic cones and fields of obsidian bear silent witness to the Earth's fiery past. These raw materials, forged in ancient eruptions, shape the tools and technologies of early humans. The cliffs and dunes of Ethiopia are natural archives, preserving the imprints of ancient plants and the shifting forms of the land itself. Each layer tells a story of climate, adaptation, and survival. As dawn breaks, mist reveals the hidden contours of valleys and meadows, where minerals and wildflowers catch the first light. These quiet moments are reminders of the land's enduring beauty and mystery. The cycle of drought and renewal is written into the landscape. Rainfall brings sudden bursts of life as new shoots emerge from ancient rocks and hillsides turn green beneath dramatic skies. Even the smallest creatures leave their mark. Dew-laden spiderwebs and butterflies add delicate beauty to the ancient stones and wild grasslands, each a fleeting part of the land's ongoing story. As the sun sets, the mountains and valleys are transformed by color and shadow. Lichen glows in the last light, and the land slips into a silence as old as time itself. Under the moon and stars, Ethiopia's ancient landscapes reveal a different kind of beauty. Crater lakes shimmer in the darkness, and the stones glisten with dew, while the night sky tells stories written in constellations. This is Ethiopia, the cradle of civilization, where every stone, every valley, and every sunrise holds a piece of our shared human story. Here, the land itself is the storyteller, patiently waiting for those who will listen and discover its timeless treasures. Our journey into the extraordinary begins in a realm that defies the imagination, a landscape so extreme it seems to belong to another world entirely. The Danakil Depression, nestled deep within the Afar Triangle, is a geological marvel and the hottest inhabited region on the planet, where the sun's intensity is unyielding and the air itself shimmers with heat. Here, temperatures routinely soar above 45 degrees Celsius, with ground temperatures often exceeding 55. The depression itself plunges more than 100 meters below sea level, forming one of the lowest and most inhospitable places on Earth. This is a land sculpted by titanic geological forces. The Danakil Depression sits at the junction of three tectonic plates, where the African and Arabian plates are slowly rifting apart, tearing the continent open in a process that has shaped the region for millions of years. The ground here is in perpetual motion, stretching and cracking as the plates drift apart by centimeters each year. This slow but relentless movement creates a dynamic landscape of fissures, faults, and newly formed volcanic features. Dominating this hostile terrain is Erta Ali, a shield volcano whose summit caldera harbors one of the world's few persistent lava lakes. Its slopes are cloaked in blackened lava, and the air is tinged with the acrid scent of sulphur. For over a century, Erta Ali's caldera has seethed with molten rock, its surface in constant, mesmerizing motion. The lava's incandescent glow illuminates the night, casting an eerie light across the desolate landscape. To approach the edge is to confront the raw energy of the earth itself. The heat radiating from the lava lake is overwhelming, with temperatures at the surface reaching nearly 1,000 degrees Celsius, enough to warp the air and sear the senses. The atmosphere is thick with volcanic gases, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrochloric acid, creating a toxic, corrosive environment inhospitable to most forms of life. At night, the volcano's fiery glow competes only with the brilliance of the unpolluted sky. The stars seem impossibly close, and the Milky Way stretches in luminous arcs above the restless Earth, creating a scene of stark, otherworldly beauty. To the northeast, the landscape transforms yet again at Dalol, where geothermal springs burst forth in a riot of color and chemical activity. Here, the Earth's crust is thin, and superheated water laden with minerals erupts to the surface. The result is a surreal palette of neon yellows, acid greens, and rusty oranges, colors produced by the precipitation of sulfur, iron oxides, and other minerals from the boiling, acidic waters. Bubbling brine pools and mineral towers rise from the ground, sculpted by the constant interplay of heat, water, and chemistry. These formations are delicate, ever-changing, and utterly unique to this environment. The pools here are among the most acidic on Earth, with pH values plunging below zero, far more corrosive than battery acid. The air is laced with toxic fumes, and the water is deadly to any organism. In this hyper-acidic, mineral-rich environment, life is all but absent. Some pools are so extreme that not even the hardiest microbes can survive, rendering them truly sterile, an anomaly on a planet otherwise teeming with life. The salt flats themselves are a study in extremes, vast, blindingly white expanses that stretch to the horizon, shaped by wind and evaporation into intricate geometric patterns. The silence is profound, broken only by the whisper of hot, dry winds. Salt crystals grow and fracture in the relentless heat, forming ever-changing mosaics. The process of evaporation and mineral deposition is constant, a slow geological choreography that has persisted for millennia. Occasionally, fierce winds whip across the flats, driving dust and sand in swirling storms that reshape the landscape in moments, leaving behind new patterns and textures etched into the salt. At dawn and dusk, the harshness softens. The rising and setting sun bathes the land in gold and crimson, transforming the alien terrain into a fleeting vision of beauty, one that vanishes as quickly as it appears. The Danakil Depression is a place of superlatives, hottest, driest, lowest, where the forces of geology, chemistry, and climate converge to create one of the most extreme and mesmerizing landscapes on Earth. Here, the planet's raw processes are laid bare, offering a glimpse into the primordial forces that continue to shape our world. Leaving behind the stark, sun-scorched expanse of the Danakil, we ascend into Ethiopia's temperate highlands, a region that has served as the cradle of its civilization and the epicenter of its spiritual legacy for centuries. Nestled within these formidable highlands lies Lalibela, a town whose very earth conceals one of humanity's most extraordinary architectural and religious achievements. In the 12th century, during a period of both political upheaval and spiritual fervor, the vision for a new Jerusalem took root here, an ambitious response to the inaccessibility of the Holy Land for Ethiopian Christians. The result was the creation of 11 monolithic churches, not constructed in the traditional sense, but meticulously excavated downward from single massive blocks of volcanic tuff. Each church was carved from the top down, roofs level with the ground, their interiors hollowed out with astonishing precision, an engineering feat that required both vision and an intimate understanding of geology. To traverse these subterranean sanctuaries is to enter a world shaped by devotion and ingenuity, where every passage and courtyard was designed to evoke a sense of spiritual journey and seclusion. Among these marvels, Bet Georgis, the Church of St. George, stands as the most iconic, its cruciform silhouette a masterpiece of both faith and geometry, perfectly proportioned and harmoniously integrated with the landscape. These churches are not relics frozen in time, but living monuments, each stone surface bearing the marks of centuries of ritual, weather, and reverence. For over 8 centuries, these sanctuaries have echoed with the rhythms of devotion, their architecture designed to amplify the acoustics of chant and the fragrance of incense, drawing pilgrims from across the land. The iconography and symbolism embedded in every wall and archway reflect a faith tradition that predates much of Europe's Christian heritage, rooted deeply in Ethiopia's unique spiritual identity. The construction of these churches demanded not only unwavering conviction, but also a mastery of stonework, each detail painstakingly shaped by hand, each structure a testament to collective effort and enduring belief. Inside, the churches are adorned with intricate carvings and murals, their artistry narrating biblical stories and local legends, blending sacred tradition with indigenous aesthetics. The interplay of light and shadow, the scent of ancient incense, and the cool embrace of stone create an atmosphere of profound tranquility, inviting contemplation and reverence. Within these walls, time seems suspended. The boundary between the earthly and the divine grows thin, and the spiritual world feels tangibly near. The architectural ingenuity required to conceive and execute these sanctuaries is staggering, combining advanced knowledge of engineering, geometry, and religious symbolism. Imagine the immense labor, tons of volcanic rock painstakingly removed with only the simplest of tools, every pillar and archway sculpted with precision and foresight. The result is a feat of engineering and artistry that continues to defy explanation, inspiring awe in all who study its mysteries. Lalibela is not merely a collection of ancient structures, it is a monumental declaration of faith carved into the very bones of Ethiopia, a sacred landscape that continues to inspire wonder, scholarship, and devotion across generations. From the spiritual heights of Lalibela, we journey northward, where the land rises abruptly into a world of ancient stone and sky, the Simien Mountains. Here, the earth seems to touch the heavens, earning this region its title as the roof of Africa. The Simien Plateau is a geological masterpiece, born from titanic volcanic eruptions over 40 million years ago. Over countless millennia, wind and water have carved the volcanic rock into a labyrinth of sheer cliffs, deep gorges, and towering pinnacles. Jagged peaks thrust skyward, while valleys plunge into shadow, creating a landscape of raw, untamed grandeur. Colossal basalt columns drop in vertical walls, some plunging more than 1,500 meters, their faces streaked with the marks of ancient lava flows. At the heart of this range stands Ras Dashen, a solitary sentinel rising above the clouds. At 4,550 meters, it is the fourth highest peak on the continent, its summit often shrouded in mist and mystery. From the escarpments, an endless sea of clouds drifts below, swirling and shifting with the mountain winds. At dawn, golden light spills across the peaks, revealing a tapestry of shadow and brilliance that changes with every passing hour. The high-altitude grasslands, veiled in morning mist, are alive with subtle movement and color. Among the grasses, the gelada monkey reigns supreme, Africa's last true mountain primate. These remarkable creatures graze in vast troops, their nimble fingers plucking blades of grass with delicate precision. The gelada's thick golden manes ripple in the wind, and their expressive faces are marked by a vivid red hourglass patch, a badge unique to their kind. Troops numbering in the hundreds move across the slopes, their social bonds maintained through a symphony of calls and gestures. Their chattering voices echo across the valleys, a complex language that weaves the fabric of their society. Each gelada is instantly recognizable by the brilliant red patch on its chest, a signal of health and vitality. As they forage and groom, their lives unfold in a delicate balance with the harsh mountain environment. In the shadows of the grasslands, another rare inhabitant prowls, the Ethiopian wolf. With fewer than 500 left in the wild, this elegant canide is the rarest of its kind on earth. Its russet coat glows in the Highland sun, and its slender form is perfectly adapted for swift, silent hunting. The wolf stalks its primary prey, the giant mole rat using patience and precision to survive in this unforgiving realm. To witness an Ethiopian wolf gliding across the moorland is to glimpse a living relic of Africa's wild past. The Simien Mountains are a sanctuary for biodiversity, sheltering species found nowhere else on the planet. Conservation efforts here are vital, as shrinking habitats threaten the delicate balance of this ecosystem. The mountains themselves exude a profound tranquility, their remote valleys untouched by the noise of civilization. Across the vast plateaus, silence reigns, broken only by the whisper of wind and the distant cry of birds. The terrain is both harsh and breathtaking, with sunlight and shadow painting ever-changing patterns across the rocks. Giant lobelia plants stand sentinel, their tall spires reaching for the sky, adapted to the cold and thin air. The wind sculpts the grass and rocks, carrying the scent of wildflowers and the promise of rain. Overhead birds wheel and call, their voices echoing through the valleys and across the cliffs. As the sun sets, the mountains are bathed in a fiery glow, their silhouettes etched against the fading sky. It is here, in this realm of stone and sky, that the Simien Mountains have earned their place as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a living testament to the power and beauty of the natural world. Descending from the Ethiopian highlands, we enter the immense Great Rift Valley, a monumental geological scar stretching 6,000 kilometers across Africa. Here, the land is torn open by the relentless movement of the Earth's crust, revealing a tapestry of dramatic escarpments, jagged basalt cliffs, and deep ravines sculpted by tectonic forces over millions of years. In Ethiopia, the rift reaches its grandest scale, opening into a chasm up to 60 kilometers wide. The valley floor is a living record of the planet's restless energy, where the African tectonic plate is gradually splitting apart, creating a dynamic landscape of shifting fissures and exposed fault lines. The East African rift system is a masterpiece of geological evolution. Here, ancient volcanic activity has left behind striking columnar basalt formations, hexagonal pillars formed as molten lava cooled and contracted. These structures stand as silent witnesses to the valley's fiery origins. Erosion has exposed multi-layered sedimentary rock strata, each layer a chapter in the region's deep history. Volcanic plugs and eroded cones punctuate the horizon, remnants of once mighty volcanoes that shaped the land with explosive force. The valley's floor is dotted with alkaline lakes, their waters shimmering with mineral hues. These lakes are cradled in volcanic calderas and mar craters, formed by cataclysmic eruptions that left behind collapsed crater walls and lava domes. Along their shores, crystalline mineral formations and salt-encrusted plains bear the marks of ancient evaporated lakes, their polygonal patterns etched by cycles of flooding and desiccation. Geothermal activity is ever present, with steaming vents and bubbling hot springs painting the landscape in vivid colors. Sulphur-stained terraces and mineral pools are sculpted by mineral-rich waters rising from deep within the earth, while obsidian fields, volcanic glass flows, glint in the sunlight, testifying to the valley's volcanic heritage. The valley is framed by fault-block mountains that rise abruptly from the plains, their steep faces revealing the immense forces that continue to shape the region. Pumice and scoria rocks, ejected during ancient eruptions, are scattered across the volcanic fields, while dried mud cracks in ephemeral lake beds trace the passage of water and time. Beneath the surface, ancient lava tubes and caves wind through the rift, carved by rivers of molten rock. In the Danakil Depression, hydrothermal fields burst with color, brilliant yellows, greens and blues, created by the interaction of minerals and extreme heat. Salt domes rise from the valley floor, pushed upward by subterranean forces, while crystalline halite and gypsum deposits form intricate patterns along the edges of evaporating pools. Mar crater lakes, born from explosive volcanic encounters with groundwater, are scattered across the landscape, their still waters reflecting the sky above. The Great Rift Valley of Ethiopia is a living laboratory of geological processes, a place where the Earth's inner workings are laid bare, and where every formation tells a story of creation, transformation, and the relentless power of nature. In the eastern highlands of Ethiopia, the landscape shifts from bustling city to wild open hills as dusk falls. Here, a remarkable creature emerges from the shadows, the spotted hyena. The spotted hyena, known locally as waraba, is one of Africa's most intelligent and adaptable carnivores. In Ethiopia, these animals thrive in the semi-arid savannas and rocky outcrops surrounding Harar, perfectly attuned to the rhythms of both wilderness and the city's edge. Hyenas are highly social, living in complex clans led by dominant females. Their haunting whoops and cackles echo across the hills at night, serving as both communication and territorial display. Young cubs, born in hidden dens, learn the intricate social rules of the clan from an early age. Renowned for their powerful jaws, hyenas are nature's consummate scavengers, capable of crushing bones to extract every last nutrient. In Ethiopia, they play a vital ecological role, cleaning the landscape of carrion and maintaining balance in the food chain. Despite their reputation, hyenas are not merely scavengers, they are skilled hunters, often working together to bring down prey. Their keen senses and endurance allow them to survive in harsh environments, from arid plains to the outskirts of ancient cities. Ethiopian folklore is rich with tales of the hyena. In many stories, the hyena is a cunning trickster, a creature of the night that moves between worlds, feared, respected, and sometimes revered. Some legends speak of hyenas as guardians of the spirit realm, while others warn of their supernatural cunning. The relationship between hyenas and the people of Ethiopia is shaped by centuries of coexistence. While hyenas are sometimes seen as threats to livestock, they are also believed to ward off evil spirits and bring balance to the land. Their nightly presence is woven into the fabric of local belief and tradition. In the moonlit hills around Harar, hyenas move with silent purpose, their senses attuned to every sound and scent. They are survivors, adaptable, intelligent, and deeply connected to the Ethiopian environment. To witness these animals in their natural element is to glimpse a world where myth and reality intertwine, a world shaped by the wild, enduring spirit of the hyena. As dawn approaches, the hyenas melt back into the hills, leaving only their tracks and the echoes of their calls, a living testament to the untamed beauty and ancient mysteries of Ethiopia. Our journey's final chapter leads us deep into the southwestern reaches of Ethiopia, where the Omo Valley stretches out in a tapestry of ancient landscapes and silent witnesses to humanity's earliest days. Here, the land itself is a living archive, its contours shaped by millennia of wind, water, and the footsteps of countless generations. The Omo River carves a winding path through this vast expanse, its banks lined with sedimentary layers that hold the fossilized remains of our distant ancestors. These silent stones and riverbeds have yielded some of the world's most significant archaeological discoveries, offering a window into the dawn of humankind. Across the valley, the terrain shifts from arid plains to lush riverine forests, each ecosystem sheltering relics of ancient life. Weathered stone outcrops rise above the grasslands, their surfaces etched with petroglyphs, cryptic messages from civilizations long vanished, yet still echoing through time. Scattered along the riverbanks, fragments of pottery and intricately woven baskets lie half buried in the earth, testaments to the artistry and daily rituals of those who once called this place home. Each artifact, from a painted calabash gourd to a ceremonial wooden staff, tells a story of ingenuity and adaptation. The valley is a mosaic of cultural symbols, where beaded necklaces and carved wooden headrests rest undisturbed, their patterns reflecting the unique identities of the peoples who crafted them. These objects, shaped by hand and tradition, embody a continuity of culture that has endured for thousands of years. In the shadow of ancient baobab trees, ceremonial masks and shields await the next festival, their vibrant colors faded by sun and time. The ochre stones used for body painting, the animal horn vessels for ritual feasts, and the iron spearheads forged in earth-fired kilns, all remain as silent guardians of heritage. Even the landscape itself is a cultural artifact. The arrangement of huts, the placement of sacred trees, and the orientation of cattle corrals reveal a deep connection between people and place, a relationship woven into the very fabric of the valley. As the sun sets behind the escarpment, the Omo Valley transforms into a gallery of shadows and silhouettes. The fading light glimmers on fossilized bones and ancient grinding stones, illuminating the enduring legacy of those who shaped this land. Here, in this living museum of humanity, every stone, every artifact, and every landscape feature is a chapter in the ongoing story of civilization. The Omo Valley stands as a powerful reminder that the roots of human culture run deep, preserved not only in memory but in the enduring symbols and silent witnesses scattered across this timeless land. While Lalibella's churches are masterpieces carved directly from the living rock, other sites in Ethiopia's highlands were constructed to rise above the landscape, their silhouettes etched against the sky as enduring symbols of ambition and ingenuity. These monumental creations were not merely places of worship or residence, but bold statements of imperial power and technological prowess. They broadcast the might and sophistication of Ethiopia's great empires, their ruins still commanding awe centuries later. Our journey now leads us to Axum, a city whose very stones whisper the legacy of a civilization that once dominated the Horn of Africa. Axum was the capital of the Axumite Empire, a formidable power from the 1st to the 7th centuries CE, renowned for its wealth, influence, and cosmopolitan reach. The city's strategic location made it a nexus for trade routes connecting Africa, Arabia, and the Mediterranean, facilitating the exchange of gold, ivory, and exotic goods. Axum's merchants traded with the Roman Empire and distant India, their coins, struck in gold and inscribed in Greek, testifying to the city's global connections. In 316 AD, Axum became one of the earliest states in the world to adopt Christianity as its official religion, shaping the spiritual identity of Ethiopia for millennia. The city's most iconic legacy is its field of monumental stelae, towering obelisks that rise from the earth like ancient sentinels. Each stela was meticulously carved from a single block of granite, their surfaces adorned with intricate geometric patterns and symbolic motifs. These obelisks served as funerary monuments for Axumite royalty, marking the tombs of kings and nobles with imposing grandeur. The sheer scale and precision of these structures reveal a mastery of engineering and a society capable of mobilizing immense resources. Some stelae soar to breathtaking heights, dwarfing everything in their shadow. The tallest, still standing, reaches 24 meters, a monolith that has endured for nearly 2,000 years. This single piece of granite weighs an astonishing 160 tons, its transport and erection a feat that continues to puzzle modern engineers. Nearby, a colossal stela lies broken, its fragments hinting at an even more ambitious vision. This monument, once standing over 33 meters tall, would have been the largest monolithic structure ever raised in the ancient world. The quarries and tools found nearby offer a glimpse into the sophisticated techniques and immense labor required for such undertakings. Beyond its architectural marvels, Axum's significance is deeply cultural and spiritual. The city is revered as the cradle of Ethiopian Christianity, its churches and chapels echoing with centuries of devotion. According to tradition, Axum is the final resting place of the Ark of the Covenant, a claim that has shaped the city's mystique and religious importance. The Chapel of the Tablet, a modest yet heavily fortified structure, is said to house this sacred relic, its secrets guarded from the world. The chapel's enigmatic presence adds an air of mystery, reinforcing Axum's role as a spiritual heartland. Its doors remain closed to all but a single guardian, preserving the sanctity and legend of the Ark for generations. As Axum's influence waned, its monuments faded into the landscape, silent witnesses to a vanished era. The center of power shifted south to Gondar, a city that would become the new stage for imperial ambition and artistic innovation. Founded in 1636 by Emperor Fasilides, Gondar was meticulously planned as a royal capital, its layout reflecting both strategic foresight and aesthetic vision. For 2 centuries, Gondar flourished as Ethiopia's capital, its skyline dominated by the imposing walls and towers of the royal enclosure. At the heart of the city lies Fazil Gebi, a sprawling fortress complex that served as the seat of imperial authority. Spanning 12 hectares, This UNESCO World Heritage Site is often called the Camelot of Africa for its romantic silhouette and storied past. Within its fortified walls stand a remarkable collection of castles, palaces, libraries and stables, each structure reflecting the ambitions of successive emperors. The architecture of Gondar is a testament to cultural synthesis, blending indigenous Ethiopian forms with influences from Portuguese, Indian and Ottoman styles. Domes, turrets and battlements rise above intricately carved stonework, their forms both familiar and utterly unique. The result is a fascinating architectural dialogue, East African tradition interwoven with Baroque flourishes and Orthodox Christian symbolism. Gondar's castles, bathed in sunlight or silhouetted at dusk, evoke a sense of grandeur and resilience, their walls bearing silent witness to centuries of ceremony and intrigue. Unlike the subterranean sanctuaries of Lalibela or the monolithic stelae of Axum, Gondar's monuments reach skyward, their forms both fortress and palace. Fasilides Castle, with its crenellated towers and arched windows, recalls the fortresses of medieval Europe, yet its details remain unmistakably Ethiopian. The stonework is adorned with indigenous motifs, and the layout reflects the ceremonial needs of the Ethiopian court. The fortress stands as a symbol of centralized power, its imposing presence a reminder of the city's role as a political and cultural epicenter. Today, the empty halls and courtyards of Gondar's castles echo with the memory of imperial decrees, royal feasts, and the rhythms of courtly life. Together, Axum and Gondar form essential pieces of Ethiopia's historical mosaic, each site revealing a distinct chapter in the nation's story. Their enduring monuments, silent, intricate, and monumental, stand as testaments to the vision, artistry, and enduring spirit of Ethiopian civilization. As our exploration of Ethiopia draws to a close, we are left with a profound appreciation for a nation whose legacy is etched not only in its people, but in the very land itself. Ethiopia is a living testament to the endurance of nature and civilization, a country whose story is written across its ancient stones, dramatic landscapes, and timeless wonders. Here, the earth itself preserves the origins of humankind. The Awash Valley, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has yielded fossils that have reshaped our understanding of human evolution, including the famous Australopithecus afarensis, known as Lucy. These ancient relics, untouched by time, are silent witnesses to the dawn of our species. Ethiopia's natural wonders are as enduring as its history. The Danakil Depression, one of the hottest and most geologically active places on Earth, is a landscape of extremes. Lava lakes, salt flats, and mineral springs create an otherworldly tableau that has fascinated scientists and explorers for generations. The architectural achievements of Ethiopia are unparalleled. The obelisks of Axum, carved from single pieces of granite, stand as enduring symbols of a powerful, ancient empire that once influenced trade and culture across Africa and beyond. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, masterpieces of engineering and devotion, remain among the world's most remarkable religious monuments. Ethiopia's agricultural legacy is equally impressive. Ingenious terracing and irrigation systems, developed over centuries, have transformed challenging terrain into productive farmland, sustaining civilizations through drought and abundance alike. These innovations continue to inspire sustainable agriculture worldwide. The country's biodiversity is a living legacy. Ethiopia is home to species found nowhere else on Earth, such as the endangered Ethiopian wolf and the unique gelada monkey. Its national parks and highlands are sanctuaries for wildlife, preserving genetic treasures for future generations. Ethiopia's influence extends to the written word. The Ge'ez script, one of the world's oldest alphabets still in use, has preserved religious texts, scientific treatises, and historical chronicles for over a millennium, contributing to the global heritage of knowledge and literacy. Ethiopia's legacy as a center of commerce and craftsmanship is evident in its artifacts. Gold crowns, ceremonial crosses, and ancient coins reveal a history of trade that connected Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, shaping the economic and cultural landscape of the region. The natural beauty of Ethiopia is breathtaking. From the Rift Valley's lakes teeming with birdlife to the thundering waterfalls of the Blue Nile, these wonders have inspired legends and sustained life for millennia. Ethiopia's achievements in science and astronomy are woven into its landscape. Ancient observatories and solar calendars demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, guiding agricultural cycles and religious festivals long before modern science. The country's geothermal wonders are a testament to its dynamic geology. Volcanic lakes and hot springs not only shape the environment but also provide vital resources for energy and wellness, positioning Ethiopia as a leader in sustainable development. Ethiopia's enduring influence is visible in the remnants of ancient trade routes and infrastructure. These pathways facilitated the exchange of ideas, goods, and innovations, linking civilizations across continents and leaving a legacy of connectivity. The resilience of Ethiopia's ecosystems is remarkable. From arid deserts to lush forests, the country's varied climates support a wealth of plant life, many species found nowhere else, underscoring the importance of conservation and environmental stewardship. Artistic expression is another pillar of Ethiopia's legacy. Prehistoric cave paintings and petroglyphs offer glimpses into the beliefs, rituals, and creativity of early societies, enriching our understanding of human development. Ethiopia's fortresses and rock-hewn sanctuaries stand as monuments to resilience and ingenuity. These structures, carved and built in harmony with the land, have withstood centuries of change, conflict, and time. The very geography of Ethiopia has shaped its destiny. The Great Rift Valley, a cradle of biodiversity and geological activity, continues to influence climate, agriculture, and settlement patterns, reinforcing the country's role as a crossroads of nature and civilization. Every stone, every landscape, every relic tells a story of endurance, achievement, and influence. Ethiopia's legacy is not confined to the past. It is a living, evolving force that continues to shape the world. To witness Ethiopia's enduring legacy is to glimpse the very roots of humanity, the wonders of nature, and the achievements of civilization, woven together in a land like no other. Gap 2s. Beneath the shadow of rugged mountains and across the undulating plains, the ancient trade routes of Ethiopia unfurl, a silent network etched into the land itself. These age-old pathways, now overgrown with wild grasses and flanked by time-worn stones, once formed the arteries of commerce that pulsed with the riches of civilizations long past. Gap 1s. The camera glides low over a sun-bleached caravan trail, its course winding through golden savannas and rocky escarpments. Alongside, the remnants of stone waymarkers emerge, weathered by centuries of wind and rain. These silent sentinels once guided traders and their camel caravans, bearing salt from the Danakil Depression, gold from the southern Highlands, and frankincense harvested from ancient groves. Gap 2s. The lens lingers on a forgotten river crossing, where smooth flat stones bridge the waters of the Awash. Here, the riverbanks are dotted with shards of pottery and fragments of glass beads, mute artifacts that speak of distant lands and far-reaching connections. Each piece, unearthed by the flow of time, hints at the goods once exchanged: ivory, spices, coffee, and textiles, linking Ethiopia to the Red Sea, Arabia, and beyond. Gap 1s. The trade routes pass through dramatic landscapes, lush valleys bursting with wildflowers, arid plateaus shimmering in the midday heat, and dense forests where ancient trees arch overhead, their roots entwined with the cobbled paths below. In the Highlands, the ruins of caravanserais stand in silent testimony. Stone courtyards, now claimed by moss and lichen, once provided sanctuary for travelers and their precious cargo. Gap 2s. Artifacts lie scattered amid the stones, intricately etched bronze weights, carved wooden chests, and weather-beaten amphorae. The camera hovers over the delicate patterns of a centuries-old coin, its faded inscriptions, a reminder of the empires that once minted currency to grease the wheels of trade. Gap ones. The narrative shifts to the natural features that shape these routes. Volcanic ridges and deep gorges both challenged and protected traders. The Great Rift Valley, a vast corridor of life and movement, funneled goods and ideas across the continent. Ancient acacia trees, standing sentinel along the path, provided shade and direction, their silhouettes etched against the dawn sky. Gap twos. As dusk falls, the camera captures the play of shadows along a mountain pass, the same route once traversed by caravans under starlit skies, guided by the constellations above. The trade routes of Ethiopia, though now silent, remain woven into the landscape. Their legacy is preserved in the artifacts, the stones, and the land itself, a testament to the ingenuity and interconnectedness of civilizations that flourished here, leaving a trail of stories for those who know where to look. Gap twos. These forgotten pathways remind us that every stone and artifact holds the memory of movement, exchange, and connection, a tribute to Ethiopia's enduring place at the crossroads of history and nature. Gap twos. In the heart of Ethiopia, where ancient mountains rise and lush valleys fall away into mist, a world of rare and extraordinary life quietly thrives. This is a land of living treasures, creatures and plants found nowhere else on Earth, shaped by millions of years of isolation and the shifting tapestry of the land. Gap ones. The camera soars above the emerald slopes of the Bale Mountains, where clouds drift low and the air is laced with the scent of wild thyme. Here, the elusive Ethiopian wolf stalks across an alpine plateau, its russet coat blending with the ochre hues of the moorland. The camera lingers on its alert, intelligent eyes, a solitary hunter, the rarest canid on the planet, perfectly adapted to these high-altitude grasslands. Gap twos. In the shadowed forests below, the Bale monkey leaps between bamboo thickets, its agile form barely stirring the dew-dusted leaves. The lens follows its journey along moss-covered branches, pausing as it plucks tender shoots, one of the few primates in the world reliant on bamboo for survival. In the dappled light, a Menelik's bushbuck slips through the undergrowth, its dark, velvety coat a perfect camouflage among the ferns and wildflowers. Gap ones. Shifting to the dramatic cliffs of the Simien Mountains, the camera captures a herd of gelada baboons, their golden manes rippling in the wind. They graze on the wind-swept meadows, their nimble fingers plucking tufts of grass while sentinels perch on rocky outcrops scanning for distant threats. Above, a lammergeier glides on silent wings, the bone-eating vulture casting a long shadow over the craggy escarpments. Gap twos. The lens shifts to the Afro-alpine flora. Giant lobelias reach skyward, their spiky crowns dusted with frost, while clusters of everlasting flowers dot the landscape in bursts of yellow and white. These hardy plants, sculpted by altitude and cold, provide shelter and sustenance for countless insects and birds. A close-up reveals a shimmering sunbird probing a blossom, its iridescent feathers flashing in the morning light. Gap ones. In the dense cloud forests of the Hyenas, ancient juniper and hagenia trees tower overhead, their gnarled branches draped in moss. The camera glides past rare orchids clinging to wet bark, and over the forest floor where the endemic giant mole rat tunnels beneath the roots, unseen but essential to the ecosystem's balance. Gap twos. As dust settles, the soundtrack softens, and the camera drifts across a tranquil highland lake. On the shore, a flock of blue-winged geese, found only in Ethiopia, take flight, their calls echoing over the still water. The wetlands shimmer with life, painted reed frogs cling to papyrus stems, and the endemic wattled ibis forages in the shallows, its curved bill delicately probing the mud. Gap ones. In this sanctuary of sky and stone, Ethiopia's endemic flora and fauna endure, resilient, mysterious, and precious. They are living legacies of an ancient land, guardians of a wild heritage that whispers through every leaf and paw print, echoing the story of evolution in the highlands of Africa. Gap 2s. As the moon rises above the mountains, the camera lingers on the silent landscapes, home to wonders seen nowhere else. Here, in the wild heart of Ethiopia, nature's secrets are kept, waiting to be discovered by those who look beyond the horizon. Across the vast Ethiopian landscape, the ground itself is alive with restless energy. Here, the African continent is slowly pulling apart, and the scars of creation are etched deep into the earth. The camera sweeps over the Danakil Depression, where the land fractures along the Great Rift Valley, one of the most geologically active regions on the planet. Gap 1's jagged fissures slice through the salt flats, and steam rises from hidden vents, painting the dawn air in ghostly wisps. The lens glides low across the otherworldly Dalol hydrothermal field, capturing a palette of neon greens, yellows and oranges, mineral-laden pools bubbling with acidic fury, sculpted by volcanic heat and chemical reaction. Gap 2's. In the distance, the brooding silhouette of Erta Ale looms, a shield volcano whose name means the smoking mountain. As night falls, the camera peers into its infamous lava lake, where molten rock churns and spits in an endless cycle of creation and destruction. The glow illuminates twisted formations of cooled basalt, a testament to the relentless forces below. Gap 1's. Shifting to the Highlands, the scene transitions to the Simien and Unveiled mountains, ancient volcanic remnants rising above the clouds. The camera traces the contours of eroded calderas, their steep walls cloaked in mist and lichen. Here, waterfalls tumble over volcanic rock, carving deep gorges and feeding emerald valleys below. Gap 2's. The lens lingers on obsidian shards scattered across the landscape, jet-black remnants of explosive eruptions glinting in the morning sun. In secluded craters, rare alpine lakes reflect the sky, their waters tinted by dissolved minerals and ringed by strange salt-loving flora. Gap 1's. Across the rift, fumaroles hiss and geysers spout, shaping a land in perpetual transformation. Hardy lichens and mosses colonize the cooling lava flows, the first life to return after the fire, a slow, silent reclaiming of the barren ground. Gap 2's. In this elemental theatre, the forces of fire and earth sculpt Ethiopia's dramatic terrain. From the simmering vents of the Danakil to the ancient peaks of the Highlands, the story of Ethiopia is written in magma and stone, a living testament to the planet's raw, creative power. As the camera soars above the volcanic badlands, the land pulses with quiet energy. No human footsteps disturb the silence. Only the earth, forever shifting, forging new landscapes beneath the unblinking sky. Beneath the vast Ethiopian sky, a mosaic of lakes and rivers weaves through the land, each body of water a shimmering jewel set within dramatic landscapes. The camera glides over the glassy expanse of Lake Tana, Ethiopia's largest lake and the ancient source of the Blue Nile. Early morning mist clings to its surface, softening the outlines of papyrus reeds and tiny, forested islands that dot the water like emeralds. A flock of pelicans glides low, wingtips brushing the gentle ripples, while silvery fish leap beneath the surface, hinting at the lake's vibrant aquatic life. The scene shifts downstream, following the Blue Nile, as it carves a serpentine path through lush floodplains and plunges in a thunderous cascade at the Tissisat Falls. Water vapor rises in shimmering columns, nourishing a microcosm of mosses, ferns, and flowering plants that cling to the cliffside, thriving in the perpetual spray. The roaring river continues its journey, sculpting deep gorges and nourishing the land for hundreds of miles. Cameras move to the Rift Valley, where a necklace of lakes, Abaya, Chamo, Shala, Abijata, and Ziwe, rests in volcanic basins. Each lake reveals a unique character. Lake Abijata's saline waters host flamingos in blushing clouds, while nearby Lake Shala's deep, mineral-rich depths are fringed by geothermal springs, their bubbles rising in hypnotic patterns. Along the shorelines, hippos and crocodiles bask in silence, undisturbed by human presence. The lens lingers on the Omo River, winding through remote valleys and feeding the wild heart of Ethiopia's south. Its muddy waters sustain dense riparian forests, where rare birds flit between tangled branches, and the calls of monkeys echo across the water. Along hidden tributaries, waterfalls tumble over mossy stones, creating tranquil pools shaded by ancient fig trees. High in the Bale Mountains, crystalline streams gather from alpine meadows, their waters cold and clear as they merge to form the headwaters of mighty rivers. Here, endemic frogs and dragonflies thrive, and the reflection of passing clouds drifts across the water's surface, unmarred by the trace of human activity. From the placid mirror of Lake Tana to the churning currents of the Omo and the volcanic lakes of the Rift, Ethiopia's waters are more than scenic wonders. They are the lifeblood of ecosystems, sanctuaries for rare and ancient species, and silent witnesses to the slow, enduring rhythms of the natural world. As the camera ascends, the lakes and rivers glimmer like veins of silver and turquoise across the landscape, sustaining the wild heart of Ethiopia, forever flowing, forever alive. Hidden far from the well-trodden paths, deep within Ethiopia's sun-baked highlands and shadowed valleys, lie time-worn galleries painted not with brush or canvas, but with the earth itself. The camera drifts into the twilight of a sandstone overhang, where ochre, charcoal, and iron-rich pigments have endured for millennia, etched by ancient hands onto rock faces and cave walls. Light filters through narrow crevices, illuminating a tapestry of faded images, herds of long-horned cattle, elegant giraffes, and antelope mid-leap, their outlines both simple and striking. Interspersed among the animals are geometric motifs, concentric circles, zigzag lines, and enigmatic symbols, their meanings lost to time, yet hinting at ritual and storytelling. In the silence, only the wind stirs, carrying the faint scent of wild thyme and dust as it brushes over the ancient pigment. The lens lingers on the rock surface, tracing the patina that has built up over centuries, a testament to the relentless passage of time and the resilience of these early expressions. Shifting to the cave's entrance, the camera reveals the stark beauty of the surrounding environment. Acacia trees silhouetted against a cobalt sky, brittle grass swaying on the plateau, and the distant silhouette of volcanic ridges that once shaped this land. Inside, the play of light and shadow animates the figures, making them seem to move across the stone, a silent procession unfolding in perpetual dusk. Nearby, mineral-rich springs trickle from the rocks, nurturing moss and tiny ferns that edge the cave's mouth, their green vivid against the ochre walls. Birds dart in and out, their wings stirring dust motes into swirling constellations. Beyond the caves, the landscape is marked by scattered boulders and hidden alcoves, each potentially sheltering more ancient art, fragments of a forgotten language, preserved by the elements and the sacred isolation of these remote places. The camera soars upward, revealing the vastness of the land and the smallness of each painted sanctuary, reminders that long before written history, these stones bore witness to lives, beliefs, and dreams. As dusk deepens, the rock art glows softly in the fading light, enduring as whispers from the dawn of humanity. Silent, mysterious, and profoundly alive within Ethiopia's timeless wilderness. High above the valleys and plains, where the horizon seems to dissolve into a canvas of shifting clouds, Ethiopia's Highland plateaus stretch out, immense, ancient, and almost otherworldly. The camera glides over a sweeping escarpment, revealing sheer cliff faces that plunge hundreds of meters into shadowy gorges. Here, the land rises abruptly, sculpted by the slow, inexorable forces of tectonic uplift and volcanic activity. Towering basalt columns jut from the earth like the ramparts of a forgotten fortress, their surfaces etched with the scars of wind and rain. As dawn breaks, Low-lying mist pools in the valleys below, drifting and swirling in the cool air, while the plateaus above bask in golden sunlight. The camera lingers on the razor-edged ridges where ancient lava flows have cooled into dramatic terraces, layer upon layer of dark volcanic rock interspersed with patches of vivid green moss and lichen. Massive boulders, balanced precariously atop spires, hint at the ceaseless erosion that has shaped these highlands over millions of years. Clouds gather swiftly, casting shifting shadows across the landscape. Here, the weather is as dynamic as the terrain. One moment, sunlight pierces through the clouds, illuminating crystalline streams that tumble over rocky ledges. The next, heavy banks of fog roll in, cloaking the world in a cool, silent shroud. The camera draws close to a solitary plateau, its surface pitted with shallow depressions where rainwater collects, forming ephemeral pools that reflect the sky above. Lightning flickers on the far horizon, illuminating the jagged silhouette of distant peaks, while thunder reverberates through the canyons. The high-altitude air is crisp and thin, carrying the scent of wet stone and alpine grasses. Grasses ripple in the wind, bending but never breaking, their roots anchored deep in the mineral-rich soil. In the distance, a curtain of rain sweeps across the land, transforming the dry gullies into rushing streams that carve new channels in the soft earth. Rainbows arc across the sky, ephemeral bridges between the plateaus and the heavens. As evening falls, the clouds part to reveal a sky ablaze with stars, undimmed by city lights, while the land below lies quiet, shaped by forces both ancient and ongoing. Here, on Ethiopia's highland plateaus, geology and weather dance an endless duet. A landscape in perpetual transformation, silent and sublime, untouched and untamed. Beyond the verdant highlands and cloud-wreathed plateaus, Ethiopia unveils a stark, mesmerizing contrast, its deserts and salt flats, where the land is sculpted not by abundance but by the relentless forces of heat, wind and time. The camera sweeps over a vast expanse of ochre dunes and parched earth, the horizon shimmering beneath a merciless sun. Here, the Danakil Depression sprawls, one of the lowest and hottest places on Earth, a landscape forged in the crucible of tectonic rifting and volcanic fire. Salt pans stretch to infinity, their surfaces fractured into geometric patterns, polygonal tiles of blinding white and pearly grey, crystallized by the evaporation of ancient lakes. In the dry season, the sun beats down, drawing moisture from the shallow pools and leaving behind a crust of pure sodium chloride, its surface glinting like glass beneath the midday glare. Wind scours the flats, sending plumes of fine, powdery salt swirling across the barren plain. The camera glides low over mineral springs, where neon-bright pools in shades of emerald, turquoise, and sulphur yellow bubble up from the depths, each one rimmed with mineral deposits that form fantastical terraces and chimneys. Here, dissolved minerals, potash, magnesium, and lithium coalesce in intricate patterns, painting the earth in surreal, otherworldly hues. Bubbling vents and fumaroles release wisps of steam, a reminder that molten rock simmers just below the fragile crust. Away from the salt flats, the desert unfurls in a tapestry of cracked mud, scattered boulders, and shifting sand. Rocky outcrops, sculpted by wind and thermal extremes, rise like petrified sentinels above the plain. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft hiss of wind or the distant rumble of subterranean movement. In this inhospitable realm, life is rare, and the mineral wealth beneath the surface tells the story of ancient seas and vanished lakes. The drone camera ascends, revealing salt ridges that snake across the landscape, fossilized waves shaped by cycles of flooding and desiccation. Pools of brine shimmer in the low light, their surfaces reflecting a sky tinged with the gold and violet of dusk. As night falls, the desert cools rapidly, and a pale moon casts ghostly shadows across the endless salt flats. Here in Ethiopia's silent kingdoms, the Earth's raw elements are laid bare, a testament to the planet's restless creative power and a beauty as austere as it is unforgettable. Hidden amidst Ethiopia's rugged highlands and rolling valleys, emerald patches of ancient woodland linger, remnants of a once vast green mantle that blanketed the land. These are Ethiopia's sacred forests, living sanctuaries untouched by time, where nature and spirit coexist in silent harmony. The camera glides through a cathedral of towering fig and juniper trees, their moss-clad trunks rising like pillars into a vaulted canopy. Sunbeams pierce the leafy crown, casting shifting mosaics of gold and green onto the forest floor. Here the air vibrates with the hush of leaves and the distant calls of unseen birds. Vines drape from ancient branches, and ferns unfurl at the roots, thriving in the filtered light. The camera lingers on a glistening spiderweb, jeweled with morning dew, then drifts past a fallen log blanketed in emerald moss, each detail a testament to the forest's quiet abundance. Epiphytic orchids bloom in the crooks of branches, their petals glowing against the dark foliage, while rare cycads and endemic shrubs cluster in the undergrowth, each species a relic of evolutionary time. Panning upward, the lens captures the dense tapestry of interlocking limbs, a fortress against the encroaching grasslands. These sacred groves act as natural reservoirs, drawing mist from the air and channeling water to the springs that sustain life beyond their borders. Rainfall gathers in shallow pools, nourishing a hidden world of amphibians and insects, each dependent on the forest's fragile embrace. The camera weaves deeper, revealing the subtle architecture of the ecosystem. Leaf litter decomposes into rich soil, feeding the roots of ancient trees. Butterflies flit through shafts of light, pollinating wildflowers that bloom in the shadowed understory. In the distance, a colobus monkey moves through the canopy, its presence ghost-like. A fleeting glimpse of the rare and the wild, cut to a panoramic view, islands of green rising above a sea of farmland, each sacred forest a living archive of biodiversity and memory. For centuries these woodlands have stood as natural sanctuaries, protected by tradition and revered as the dwelling places of spirits. Though no human footsteps disturb the silence, their legacy endures in every leaf and branch, a testament to the reverence that has preserved these sanctuaries for generations. As dusk settles, mist coils between the trunks and the forest becomes a realm of shadows and whispers. Fireflies flicker in the gloom, their lights weaving silent hymns to the enduring bond between earth and spirit. In Ethiopia's sacred forests, nature's resilience and sacredness are entwined, safeguarding a living heritage that shelters the past, nurtures the present, and quietly hopes for the future. Beneath Ethiopia's ancient highlands, where tectonic forces have sculpted a landscape of soaring plateaus and plunging gorges, water finds its voice in spectacular cascades and crystalline springs. The camera glides above a rugged escarpment, revealing a ribbon of silver as it leaps from the cliff's edge. This is Tis-Isat, the Blue Nile Falls, where the river's journey is transformed into thundering mist. Droplets catch the sunlight, casting fleeting rainbows through the spray, while the falls carve new channels into volcanic rock, their relentless power echoing the forces that shaped the land eons ago. Sweeping across the landscape, the lens discovers hidden waterfalls veiled in the shadows of dense forest canopies. Here, water tumbles in delicate threads over moss-draped boulders, collecting in tranquil pools that mirror the sky. Each cascade tells a geological story. Basalt layers fractured by ancient lava flows, sandstone worn smooth by centuries of erosion, fertile soils deposited by the ceaseless churn of water and stone. The journey continues to remote highland springs, where mineral-rich waters bubble from the earth, filtered through layers of volcanic ash and porous rock. The camera settles on a crystal-clear spring, its surface undisturbed, but for the gentle ripple of emerging water. Fissures in the Earth's crust allow groundwater, charged with minerals, to rise and nourish the ecosystem. Aquatic plants sway in the gentle current, while dragonflies hover above the surface. Each species adapted to the spring's unique chemistry and constant temperature. As the camera pans downstream, the environmental impact of these waterscapes becomes clear. Waterfalls and springs are lifelines, sustaining pockets of lush vegetation that stand in vivid contrast to the arid highlands beyond. Ferns and reeds cluster along the banks, their roots binding the soil and preventing erosion. Pools formed at the base of cascades provide refuge for endemic amphibians and insects, while the constant flow of water shapes microclimates that support rare orchids and mosses. Zooming in, the lens captures the intricate dance of water and stone droplets polishing pebbles to a glassy sheen, slow trickles etching new grooves into the bedrock. Over time, these processes sculpt gorges, deepen valleys, and create habitats found nowhere else on Earth. The voice of the waterfall never ceases. It is a pulse within the landscape, a reminder of the planet's restless energy and the delicate balance that sustains life. As dusk falls, the roar of falling water softens and mist rises from the pools, drifting into the cool night air. Bats swoop in silent arcs above the springs, drawn by clouds of insects. The camera lingers on the rhythmic flow, the endless cycle of renewal. In Ethiopia's waterfalls and natural springs, geology and ecology converge, forging living monuments to change, resilience, and the enduring artistry of water. Beneath Ethiopia's rugged surface, far from the reach of sunlight, lies a hidden world of colour and brilliance, a subterranean realm where time and pressure have conjured treasures from the very bones of the earth. As the camera descends through a labyrinth of ancient basalt and granite, veins of opal glimmer in the darkness, their play of colour shifting with every subtle tilt. These formations, born from volcanic ash and mineral-rich waters, reveal luminous flashes of red, green, and blue, each stone a silent record of volcanic fire and geologic patience. The journey glides through narrow fissures, revealing pockets of tantalum and gold embedded in quartz seams, their metallic luster stark against the matte rock. In another cavern, the lens finds clusters of sapphire crystals, deep blue and perfectly formed, nestled within metamorphic schist. Here, the minerals lie undisturbed, their crystalline facets catching stray beams of filtered light that seep through cracks above. Sweeping across the landscape, the camera soars above the Wellow Highlands, where opal fields shimmer beneath a thin crust of soil. Rainwater, percolating through volcanic tuff, dissolves silica and redeposits it in hidden cavities, slowly building the translucent gems over millennia. The lens moves to the arid Afar Depression, where salt flats conceal rare deposits of potash and lithium, their presence revealed by subtle changes in the Earth's hue, a faint blush of pink or a ghostly white sheen. In the emerald heart of southern Ethiopia, the camera discovers hidden pegmatite dikes rich with tourmaline, garnet, and aquamarine. Crystals, undisturbed and perfect, protrude from the rock in geometric clusters, their colors echoing the mineral diversity forged by shifting tectonic plates. In the shadows, tiny flecks of platinum and palladium glint among river gravels, washed down from ancient highlands by the slow, persistent action of water. Across the tableau, the camera lingers on the untouched beauty of these mineral treasures in their natural settings, opal veins running like lightning through dark rock, sapphire crystals nestled in metamorphic folds, and gold dust sparkling in the beds of mountain streams. Each gemstone and mineral is a testament to Ethiopia's turbulent geologic past, a story written in pressure, heat, and the ceaseless movement of the earth. As twilight settles over the landscape, the stones remain in silent vigil, their colours and forms a reminder of the deep artistry hidden beneath Ethiopia's wild terrain. In these rare gemstones and minerals, the country's ancient heart reveals itself, not in monuments of stone or echoes of water, but in the secret brilliance forged by the planet itself.